Hello, guys. Welcome to the very first podcast by Appscrip, and we are honored to have our first guest as Mr. Aditya Patadia, the co-founder and CEO of Gumlet. So, welcome, Aditya. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks a lot for having me. Really excited to do this one, and happy to be part of the first one.
Yeah, we are equally honored, and there's been a lot of back and forth, and finally we are doing this. I'm very happy about it, having you as the first guest. Okay, Aditya, we'll just shoot with the very first thing. You have been an entrepreneur for a very long time. I did some research and saw like your first company was probably back in 2012, right? So if you can just take us a little bit through your entire startup journey and what were your previous ventures and how did you start? Why did you wanted to become an entrepreneur? Was it like a conscious thought or something came up? How's it? Just if you can take us through that.
Hey, yes. So I started thinking about business when I was in my engineering days, maybe 2009, 10 around, when I was like 18, 19, 20 year old. Maybe because like my father also was a businessman. Maybe that is the reason. I don't know the reason, but yeah, I mean, I just knew that I was always want to go for some startup. Uh, and uh, and that's when we started. I and one of my friend from engineering started working on it in 2010. So the idea was that AWS was actually very early at that time, and we thought that we'll make something similar to AWS because obviously that's a great market, and we started making software which would basically become like a virtual machine, and so basically like products which are similar to EC2 and S3. That's what the idea was, and yeah, so that's what we did. We launched a company. Didn't work out, unfortunately. We were very young, very inexperienced. And but in hindsight, the timing was really good. I mean, there were like all the companies, whether you call it like a first products of Google Cloud, they started developing during that time. DigitalOcean was launched in 2011, end of 2011. So timing was great to launch that product. I mean, yeah, but no, we didn't have experience, couldn't launch it. It's a different story. But that was my first company. We closed it like after 2 years officially, but we just crashed in middle of I think 2012. So that's what it was. Um, and then I started a company called Event Viva, which was event listing and ticketing platform, which was like similar to how Eventbrite works these days. So you go there, list events, can list tickets, and somebody can come and buy it. So that was the idea. That turned out to be a good one. It was successful, and then I got into my MBA. It paid my MBA rents and everything. So it was a cool, fun one-person startup, which I sold it to a London-based company called Event in 2015. So yeah, that's what it is.
Great, great. So, Aditya, like, let's talk a little bit about Gumlet now. Okay, so how did the idea came into your mind, and what sort of problem or opportunity did you identify, and how did you identify that challenge? So, let's talk about Gumlet first, like what Gumlet is and what do you guys do? Yeah.
Yeah, so how we got started is like I am like a very hands-on developer. I always loved coding, and in fact, when I launched the Event Viva, which was the event listing platform, we I wrote a library in PHP language which was called PHP Image Resize, and the library is like extremely popular. So right now, like more than like a 2 million downloads, people all over the world in PHP language even today use that library to process images. And what I found out is, hey, if this library is so popular, why people are using it so much? Is there like a big problem? And then we talked to a few people and figure out that, hey, developers who want to deliver images which are like really good on the web, um, they need some product. My library is solving some part of it, not all of it, and that's where the idea came in, that hey, if the library is very popular, people are using it all the time, and it is not fulfilling all of their needs, maybe a SaaS product in this world might be able to address all of the need, and that's how we got started. So our core business is basically image and video processing and delivery. So we make image and video processing and delivery super efficient for any business. So anybody who comes up and thinks that, hey, today I want to, I have like a bunch of visitors and I want to ensure that images are perfectly sized, um, perfect quality without any compromising quality, by the way. So we have perfect quality, perfect size. Everything should be awesome on my site. How do I do it? The answer is Gumlet. And same is for video. Like if somebody wants to stream videos tomorrow without knowing anything about videos, how to process them, how to do different protocols and ton of stuff, we just make that like one click video processing, super simple. So that's what we do.
Great, great. So, Aditya, this is the kind of requirement when you are probably, a developer might understand that, yeah, this is why we need a solution like Gumlet and all of that. But when, for example, there are businesses, okay, where like non-tech founders are running those businesses and they have those challenges, but probably they are unable to identify it. So, is it difficult to convince them that, this is the solution that you need, or like, how do you educate them, about these things?
Yeah, so probably what is happening right now is that people who are coming from non-tech background generally they end up streaming videos when they are starting a web special. They end up streaming videos in a format called MP4, which we all know, right? So the video comes up, they just put it on some storage, and luckily, like all browsers, all applications can play those videos. Uh, and world is fine till that point. The problem usually automatically comes from the same people when they start complaining that, hey, this videos which I stream to, if I stream to like large number of people, they start complaining that, hey, these videos are very big in size, or these videos are eating a lot of bandwidth, or they never load and it's very hard to load them because the nature of MP4 videos, like they are not built to stream on the web. They are built to be viewed on your desktop computers, but they are not meant to be streamed across, like say, 5,000 kilometer across the world. So it never works, and that's when the problems start emerging. And it's not just developers. In fact, most of the requirements or videos come from business people, where either they have to face this problem or they have like a large library of videos, which is very hard to organize. Like if you are going to put that in some like storage like S3 or something for streaming purposes. Now, how do you know? How do you search those videos? How what if you want to edit some part of it? What if you want to get some thumbnail change for this video? All that things are like a really pain. And what if you want to organize it in like different with different tags and folders and whatnot? Um, and after doing all of that, somehow, if you want to share that access with your teammates, which generally all businesses want to do, like they don't work in like one person. Video is like mostly a collaborative effort. So like one person uploads it, somebody else changes thumbnails, puts different titles. There is a third person who puts it on social media or whatever, and then the developer comes and gets the API and puts in the app. So it's like four different personas who are going to work on that video. Everybody needs to get access and do all these things which are described in easy manner. And that's where everybody gets stuck. So that's where we come into picture. Mostly we don't need, thankfully, a lot of convincing. The problem is very apparent from day one. And then we just present them that, hey, this is the solution. Just go ahead, use this, where all of your problems are solved. Not only about the streaming, but also about management and how do you collaborate that as well.
Okay, great, great. So, Aditya, also like a major part or something which is very relevant to what you're doing is a concept called CDN, Cloud Delivery Network, right? So, like if we can talk a little bit about it. So, let's first, if you can just very dumb down it to for someone who does not know what CDN is and why is it important for their website or for their business at scale. So, if you can just take us through the concept of CDN to begin with.
Sure, yeah. Been doing this since more than like 7 years now. So CDN at its core is CDN actually exists because, in simple words, the Earth is huge. So you have a server in the US, and you want to give traffic, send traffic from US to let's say India. Um, that part is not. fast. So what happens generally is that your that traffic that the traffic that you are sending from US to India takes generally like 300 to 500 milliseconds to reach to India. uh, and that's where all the problems start, because you got to put your server somewhere, right? If you put in India, then your US users will suffer. If you put in US, your Indian users will suffer, and things like that. And obviously you can't just go and put servers everywhere. And in basic form, this is where the CDNs need started to materialize. I think in late 90s, when people realize this is a big problem, we need something that solves this, and that's how CDNs were born. So it just, at a bare bone, it solves the need of being closer to users. Your traffic basically um, is served from the nearby server rather than traffic being served from a US server. That's like basic. But these days, like, CDNs have evolved a lot. I mean, there are a ton of features which already solves the basic need, but then there are a ton of other things which they also solve. So yeah, we do bundle CDN as a part of our offerings, both in image and videos. The CDN is inbuilt into our product.
Okay, amazing. So, and also like, is it something which every business at every scale should be considering, or is there like, if you're starting a business right now, you need not think so much about CDN, and probably at a scale, then you need to take it more seriously. Is it something like that, or how is it?
Yeah, so scale part, I would tell you. Let's say, for example, if you are running a personal blog, um, the impact of not having CDN might not be huge, right? For example, your blog is visited by 10 people, let's say, in a month, or say in a day even. The impact of having CDN or not having CDN is not felt that badly. Uh, but the moment you start going up, let's say like you have like a 3,000 visitors a day and things like that, when that happens, what there are two things that happen. One is your users actually start feeling the pain, because now you have users all across the globe. If 3,000 people randomly coming from entire earth is going to guarantee you users from almost like 150 countries. And they start feeling that, hey, this image is not loading, the videos are really slow, things like that. Uh, and second interesting thing that happens is Google start complaining when that happens, because they now start indexing more of your pages and things like that. They start complaining that, hey, your site is slow, your site is doing X, your site is not serving images in correct format, your videos are not streaming correctly. All these things happen, and when these two things happen, I mean, people start running that, hey, this is a problem. So my comment is, yeah, even if you are running a very small blog, do go for CDN. There's no harm doing that. There are CDNs which give you basically like a free data as well. We also do. So it's best to start on day zero, rather than fumbling at the time when Google and users are complaining at the end of the day, because it's basically like almost zero cost to start with. But when you scale, there are like ton of benefits that is derived out of it.
Right. So you can probably take something of a pay-as-you-go kind of a model. So you start with probably not much you're paying, and as you scale up, you pay more according to how much you're using it.
Yes, it's classic SaaS. So CDN, most CDNs, except like the Akamais of the world, generally operate in a SaaS model where you only pay. They give you some chunk of data free, which, for example, Gumlet also does. So let's say you sign up on Gumlet, you get like a around 30 GB a month free. So that satisfy all your small blogging sort of needs, personal websites, all those needs. And let's say some companies goes beyond that, then they have to start paying. But the payment is not much. It's just some small monthly amount that you have to pay, and get the access. So that basically solves all the problems from day one. And as I told you, the CDNs these days are not just limited to like a being close to users. They also do things like a bot prevention and improving your SEO. Sometimes if your server is misconfigured, they also give you like a very good compression of your JavaScript and CSS files and images. And all of these things, like there are bunch of other features which are inbuilt, which just makes everything better. So if the choice is between whether I should go for CDN or not right now, my answer would be like go from day one, and then you will never have to worry about this part ever in the future.
Right, right. Okay, Aditya, so I'd like to tell our audience as well, like we as a company have been looking for, a partner like Gumlet for a really long time to build like really effective solutions and all. And then we found Gumlet, so we have partnered with Gumlet now. And the results that we have seen, like we have built websites and platforms for a lot of clients, be it in e-commerce space or otherwise, and image optimizations or video optimizations, processing, load time, they have significantly improved. Okay. So, and that has really, helped the businesses to kind of, improve their, analytics to understand, okay, what's going right, what's going wrong, and all of that. So, if you can tell our audience a little bit about, how important is the, image and video optimization and processing for a website, because it impacts a lot of other parameters, which they, it's not just about the video or image loading late or anything of that sort. It depends on a device. Probably if I'm sitting in India and surfing a website through my mobile phone, compared to sitting in US and probably in a MacBook Pro. So there are differences and all, and to load the image and video and all those media accordingly plays a huge part. So if you can just take us through that, like what impact it creates for a business.
Yes, sure. So what happens these days is the world has changed dramatically after like 2008 9, right? When mobile devices were introduced. Previously, like everybody were just tied to their most of the people are tied to the desktop, with a very well defined desktop screens. Uh, and there was not much of a mobile traffic. Mostly people were on wired internet and things like that, or there was no internet. uh, but uh, but things have changed like big time in last 10 years. Now we have like mobile devices and even like watches, which are each small, to our desktop device, which is probably like a 34 inch, on which people work. And and none of these users are the good or bad part, if you think, is none of these guys are in minority. So you cannot ignore that. Hey, these desktop guys are just like 0.001%, and I can ignore them. No, they are also like 5 7%. And then mobile device, if you see Indian population, they are in like 40 50% of mobile users. And then laptop guys are like probably like 15 20%. This is like I'm talking about India split. US, I'm sure there are different split, but regardless, none of these populations which are using, like, say, large desktop screens to laptops to mobiles, to a very small cheap mobile phones, and very small screen devices. None of these guys are in small populations. Everybody is varying from like 2 to 5% to up to like 30%. And this creates like interesting problem where you need to ensure that every user gets a perfect uh, image or video for that device. And why I'm stressing on image and video is because text is very, very adaptive. So let's say you are loading a text, let's say Wikipedia text on your mobile device to your desktop to your large, let's say iMac. It's same experience because texts are very efficient, they are compressed, and they get delivered in no time over network. But images are not the same. You want to render one paragraph for text. It is same rendering speed, most likely, on mobile device, desktop, and everything. You want to render an image which is a 5,000 pixel. That is not going to be same on every device, because images cannot be compressed by the nature of it. So what we help companies do, and that's why I think great to partner with Appscrip as well, is where what we do is like we do a dynamic processing. So what we do is like whenever user loads a video or image on their mobile, in real time we analyze which is the device which they are visiting from, what is the size of the device, what is the region from where they are visiting, what is the capability of that device. Sometimes some devices actually support something called like a new format, which are like AVIF and WebP, and in video something called um, uh, H265. So these are the new codecs which compresses the size while keeping the same quality. but not all devices support it. So all these factors like device size, device capability, location, and users network capability, all this is taken into account, and we prepare a version for that user. So think of it like a hyper optimization where Google does is right. Shows you like one ad to one user, and some other ad to another user because they know these two users are not the same. Think of it like similar thing which we are doing for image and video delivery, where we treat each and every user as a different one compared to the old school mentality of giving one image or video to every person. And that uh, sounds like a very complex, and it is, but the results are phenomenal. So basically, people on small mobile device, they get very fast response, and on the large device, they get the best image. Because if we are going to serve the small image to a large desktop guys, it's going to be pixelated, and they're going to complain that I cannot see anything in this image. Whereas the small device, mobile device guy, it doesn't matter. You did a 5,000 pixel image. After downloading, the mobile device itself is going to resize and show it to user because they have no capability, and while doing that, it's just going to waste time and bandwidth of the user. And it goes more beyond that. As I told you, it impacts businesses. So for example, if there is an e-commerce company which is giving the same image to every user, users are going to wait forever on mobile device to load the image and see the preview and make a decision to purchase. On the other end, if it's going to load very fast, then obviously user can see it. They can click the add to cart button in a moment, and your purchase is done. So it not only like improves user experience, but also improves like a purchase, and affects your top line in all cases. So I think all users should be like very vigilant. And this world is now, I think, video first and image first, where people don't want to read text. They will just see what you have to present and make a decision right now. And I think no better way to make them their decision easier by showing the image and videos if they are delivered in the right way. So if that is done, I think that audiovisual experiences are great to drive purchases, to drive engagement, or whatever the goal of the users, goal of the company is. I think is much better achieved with this if the audiovisual experience is crafted well. As we see in the like global companies crafting it really well. If every Indian company or say every local smaller companies can also do it, nothing like it, and that's what we are here. Like we enable that.
Right, right, absolutely. And since you brought it up, like when it comes to like different kind of businesses, be it e-commerce or social media or whatever business someone is in, so what have you noticed? Like, this is something that I'm just asking at the top of my head. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have probably noticed? Is it like some sort of engagement is the biggest issue, or conversion? Like, what sort of across different businesses they face through website or their whatever the customer touch point mediums are. So what are some of the like biggest top two or three challenges that you've seen which they are really seeking solutions to solve for?
Yes. So there are obviously like I'll divide those challenges in like two parts. One is like external factors, which mostly is Google. Uh, what happens is like those businesses which rely on Google or search engines to get traffic, uh, they need to be like very efficient in terms of their website, their mobile pages, their apps, everything. Because Google is watching and they watch that, hey, this site is loading slow because with their new Web Vital and all these updates, they keep tracking it continuously in a transparent manner. But they do keep tracking it, and then every business is incentivized to make it work on the devices. Just 2-3 months ago, they also launched entire guidelines for videos, how the video should be put on website, how it should be indexable. They now started indexing every videos as well. So they are watching it, how you are serving it, and if the serving is not good, the ranking goes down, and it directly affects top line, which is the first biggest problem which customers face in the as an external factor. Those business which are sometimes even legacy businesses, like they have been like running for 40 years, those also have started to feel the pain, and they started to reach out to us, and we solve happily the problem for them. So It's not just for the new age companies which are feeling this. Everybody else is also feeling this. Those who are not so much customer obsessed, they are also forced by Google to do this. So that is first one. Second one is that there are businesses which actually obviously they care about the users and experiences. They have product management teams and designers and everything, and obviously the internal stakeholders and internal analytics flags that hey, this experience which we are giving out is not good. So whether the videos are not in right place, whether they don't have the right thumbnails, or they are not streamed correctly, it sometimes takes a lot of time. These are flagged by internal teams, and they are very aware that hey, this is happening. This mostly happens with the new age companies, where all these teams are like, constantly vigilant about this experience issues, and they are like on their toes to solve it. Uh, Obviously, it's a great way to win in this world, because like if your app is much better and much responsive than anybody else, people generally come back to it again and again, and not go to their competitor. So that is a big one. And third is sometimes cost. So for example, what happens is like it's a byproduct of a product, but what happens is like when we optimize the videos and images and everything, the CDN traffic and everything goes down. So those who are starters, I mean, what happens is like companies need to pay for data transfer. The way, let's say, you have to pay to download data, companies need to pay to give the data out. And it's not obvious for consumers, by the way, but that is a payment that also needs to be made. And because we do all these changes in image and dimensions and video processing and all these things, we end up saving like ton of costs on CDN. So sometimes some companies also come to us that hey, this our CDN cost is very high. Why don't you guys come to us and come to us and help us, that we want to reduce traffic, because image and video is, let's say, like 90% of the traffic. Text doesn't, as I told, contribute much to the traffic. Most of the traffic comes from image and video, and that's why we come and reduce the cost as well. So that's these are three angles where companies feel the pain, and they have issues in and one thing which happens also a lot. I missed out was that in video processing. So what happens is the video processing is extremely hard. For images, sometimes it's you can get, like, for example, my library in PHP and process images and do okay job, not like out of the world, but yeah, you will still get there. Videos are not like the videos needs so much attention, especially somebody has like a video which is uploaded by users or their teams from varying sources. Processing those input videos in multiple different dimensions and all those things is a huge pain, and nobody has expertise for it. In engineering, generally, we are taught that that programming is done in this way, databases are managed in this way. Very few people are taught that videos should be processed in this way. Very few, right? And that poses challenge to organizations where video engineers are something, a breed which is not found. When they want to try a video engineer, it's not a JD which commonly is seen, and that creates problems, because then when the team has to deal with videos, they have a huge problem. So what we do is like eliminate the entire role, that you don't need a video engineer in your company. um, we'll take care of entire architecture, and that basically solves the problem. So these are like broadly four different problems. Google is there, the internal stakeholders flagging things right away, that this is not good. Third is cost, and fourth is the expertise problem, where they don't have a means to do it, and it's okay. I mean, for example, no company today has a credit card processing engineer, right? Nobody knows how to process credit card. We generally go to Stripe or Razorpay or whatever it is, integrate it, and we are done. And I think it's okay. I mean, just go ahead and get it from experts, and then get it solved. So yeah, this is what we observe and solve for.
Right, right. Yeah, so like I was about to ask this question about video first businesses especially, but I think you touched upon it a little bit. Like, what are their kind of, if we just talk about the video first businesses right now, what are the sort of challenges what they are facing, and how does their future kind of look like? Because the video is something which has like gone up for the past 2 3 years like crazy, and it's only going up from now. So, and I don't know, are there like enough solutions to kind of, build that sort of ecosystem where they can survive effectively, or like what are the, major challenges for which they also are kind of seeking solutions for, and which people need to solve for, or maybe Gumlet is already solving for?
Yeah, so video first businesses we generally consider. I mean, I might miss out, but I'm just considering, let's say, social commerce companies, the social media companies, edtech companies, um, and to some extent, I think e-commerce, traditional e-commerce. They also have like a now a lot of videos. So these are generally the companies which we see. There is also a chunk of news and media companies, but I think. Let's leave out that for now. But this is what it is, I think, right? And what these companies are facing as a challenge right now um, is video is turned out to be like the winner in all of the entire space, right? So we have seen like how uh, the trajectorial growth of TikToks and Reels and other things. So right from like a short form content to like a YouTube to Netflix. So videos in any form is popular if you have the right content. So first challenge with companies right now have is how do you get best content out, whether it's from users or whether the depending on model, social media companies need to get the best content from the users. Those who are in non-social media space, they need to get like a really good at production and create engaging content. So that is like obviously P0 of any video first company. But once it is done, and like a lot of people are doing great job out there doing that. The next thing is how do you make sure that you give the experiences which are to the point of let's say Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, because there you never see the problems. You always like open a YouTube at 2 a.m. in the morning, and just the videos just starts flowing in without any problems. There are all the facilities that you need. You can create playlist, you can have recommendation systems. So the depending on like how business is, there are different problems. Let's say for example an ad tech platform. I think a big problem they would have is how do you organize the content in a perfectly right way, so that it's a searchable, it's a course wise everything. And how do you recommend more content? So let's say somebody has watched X video, how do you recommend a next video to the person? These are the big challenges for let's say ad techs of the world. Recommendation also a big problem for social media companies. Like how do you get so good to engage people on your plate to stay on the platform? I think Instagram and all does it a really good job at that. How do you do that? So these are some of the big challenges. And recommendation system has generally been a very um, good problem to solve for, because if you solve for it, I mean your user growth and engagement issues are generally taken care of. So those are the things which are going to come. Right now it might not be very apparent, but that will come as the industry matures. Third is there are companies who are directly like monetized by ads. So some companies, like for example social media, some ad tech even don't charge for the content, and they monetize based on ads. So how do you get the best ads, and how do you earn great um, returns from a given ad shown? So your CPM rates and everything are also very important when you are making an ad powered platform. Uh, News and media companies are generally like very big on this. They generally do want to keep their content free, and they want to monetize it. So so as I told, the organization of videos, how do you organize a library, whether it's user generated or your team generated, whatever the way it is. um, how do you make a recommendation systems which basically keeps users engaged and keeps them on your platform rather than them clicking away to any other place. And third is how do you monetize if you are into that, how you are going to monetize that content, because we have seen that in all three areas those who have done great, they have done like really good on a customer side. If I'm talking about B2C businesses, um, wherever it's relevant, somebody who has made like great recommendation system like TikTok, they have like killed it. Somebody who has done a really good job of ad monetization like YouTube, they have killed it. Like they are the king of video in that format, right? And those who organize content in nice way with search and everything, like OTT players like Netflix and everybody, apart from obviously the content availability, the platform is so good at giving you whatever you need and in 1 second. So these are the challenges. And I think it's going to be more and more relevant coming in next like 4 5 years. Right now, not a lot of people focusing on recommend. In fact, you rarely hear about recommendation system for videos. Nobody has a recommendation system for videos. Rarely the libraries are nicely organized, and ads on videos are something which people don't stream the videos on their own, but they are going to do more and more. There is a exodus from YouTube, where people are wanting to have the full control over the platform. And I think years go by, and then the points of like a return on investment starts coming. The ads on videos are also going to be a big ones. Uh, so these are three areas which I see is as a up and coming challenge in this domain, especially for video first companies. Um, and uh, and yeah, I mean, companies are going to tackle this in different way. We right now, I mean, as a Gumlet, we don't have a recommendation system. We don't have a monetization system. um, I'm not sure when we will start focusing on that. But for video management, we already done a lot of that, lot there, where we allow people to create playlists and allow them to tag videos and organize in folders, um, or or have a subtitles automatically generated. These are all the issues which are like, let's say somebody wants to generate subtitle in 5 languages, they don't have resources, but we can help them automatically do it. So these are all the things which we are doing. We are obviously not everywhere like there yet, but there are things which are in place. And these challenges are going to be, I think, interesting to see how people are solving this. Especially, I'm really personally excited about the recommendation part. Let's
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a very exciting space to be in. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so just final few things. But before that, just out of curiosity, I just want to ask you, like, when we talk about Gumlet, is it like compatible with different sorts of frameworks as well? Like, or is there certain frameworks or tech stack which it is more compatible with compared to the other ones? Like, how does that affect the performance?
tech stack as in.
Tech stack, as in, like, for example, suppose if something is built on, say, the native apps compared to, something if it is built on, say, Flutter or something very new age technology. So, is there any difference in terms of that?
Uh, I mean, okay. So let me answer it this way. From like a video or image delivery perspective, if we are considering that, um, I don't think there is much difference. Uh, Generally, what happens is that this new, whether it's React Native or Flutter, they end up calling the native component of that platform uh, um, automatically. So there is not much of a difference there, as far as the video, like image displaying image or playing a video is concerned. Because let's say, for example, even if you open a Flutter app, and you play a video, it for example, in iPhone, it opens up in native player, and in Android it generally calls something called Exo Player. So I don't think that is a big hurdle. I think these are great technologies, and it's very compatible. So I don't see any challenges there. Um, However, I mean, this challenge, this new technologies have had challenges with other things. So let's say, for example, some building of fluid interfaces, uh, putting all the right animations, in especially in mobile apps, putting out different things. For example, calling your APIs in efficient manner. Sometimes those things have seen, especially if the app is not well designed. Sometimes it creates problems, and where I think native shines at some places. But I think it's a pure business call, where how much impact of that is going to affect the business is determined by how their business is. So let's say somebody uh, who has like a large number of users, and they want to have this app optimized for those all of the users to their business to be successful, then maybe the native app is a great way to do it. But for the rest of them, rest of all people, I mean, if the engineers are easy to find, the apps are fast to build in Flutter or React Native, I think that's a great way to go for that. Because I mean, no point to forcing a native app when you don't have like a 15, 50, 20, 50, 40, 50, 100 million users. If that is not the case, I mean, why would somebody go and write a native app? if it is going to be very costly and the developers are really hard to come by. I think that's what the challenges we see. But apart from that, as far as the video or audio or even image display and playback is concerned, I think it's generally uh, not big of a blocker. I mean, I would say the performance is almost same because it's just like one API call to native dashboard, native framework, and then uh, everything handled by native framework. So so that's how it is. Yeah.
Okay. Just one final thing I would like to ask. Like, Gumlet is a proudly Indian company, and then like if there's a perception for Indian companies, especially when it comes to tech and all. So when you are going for a client based out of US or somewhere else, is there sort of a extra kind of convincing which needs, or like is there a perception already which they have for Indian companies in tech, or like how is it, or is it like very smooth and not much to on the convincing part? It's very easy with them. How's it?
Yeah. So two things. One is we don't go out and shout a lot that we are Indian company. First of all, uh, so that is one thing. But anyway, if somebody digs enough, they come to know that this is an Indian company. What we have seen is that for a small like self-serve customers who are like in our growth plan, which is like $100 a month or things like that, nobody cares, frankly. Nobody gives a damn about how do you, whether you are paying to an Indian company or European company or Japan company or US company. As far as the payment processing is seamless, your support is good, and your product works as it promises. If that happens, frankly, like zero people I have come across who have said that, hey, you are Indian company, I am not going to pay you $100. That never happens because the stakes are low, and on the other end, it's generally like a perceived that any company, wherever it is, um, it's going to do fine if they have good reviews and good product, etc. For example, I don't know like which products I am using. Sometimes I sign up in front of product, and after like a 6 month I realize, hey, this is a startup from Spain which I'm using right now. And then I'm like, why do I care, right? I mean, it's okay. So that's fine. However, the things might get get different in a very large deal. So let's say I am if we have not done it, by the way, but if I have to crack, let's say, $1 million deal in US, things might work differently because there the it's not a problem of Indian company. It's more about like whether there is an enforceability of contracts. How do I do this? Whether there is a US subsidiary where with which I can work easily. Uh, can I transfer bank account using like money every month using bank account? Those are the things which start playing in at that size of a deal. Uh, and uh, and let's see. I mean, we have not faced it, and frankly, we have not come across an opportunity where we could do it. But if it comes to that, I mean, there might be a good chance that we might open a subsidiary in US. Um, but yeah, I mean, until then, things are flying very nicely.
Great. Okay, great. Speaking to you, Aditya, I think that's it. Yeah, I've had a great time. Got a lot of insights, great, insights on video first businesses about what Gumlet is solving for. And I'm sure our audience will also create enormous amount of value from this conversation. So, and happy to have Gumlet as a partner. And we hope that it goes a long, long way and we can together serve a lot of valuable customers across the world. So, looking forward to it, Aditya. Thank you for taking out your time and doing this with us.
Happy to do this, Aishik, and yeah, great to have Appscrip as our partner. I think you guys are doing great job of making sure that everyone gets like really good mobile apps out there. Really, all the best to your team, and yeah, all the readers. If you have guys have any help, support, anything required, even on personal front, any on founding or even the starting out as a founders. Happy to help you guys out. Just reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to connect. And thanks a lot, Ashik, for organizing this.
Great. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for your time.